Okay, cool. Hey, fam, welcome. It's a Friday night. I've had a super long day, but um, it's been a mostly good day. But I need to go live and check on some dry aging projects and some charcuterie projects to make sure that everything's going well. Also, we're adding a little bit of salt, and then now that I have YouTube up and running, well, I think I'm gonna change a little bit of this angle there. Okay, yeah, that works for me. Now I'm gonna go live on Instagram. Hey there, welcome. One sec, we're checking on some dry aging stuff. Okay. Okay. Hey team, how's everyone doing? I hope you're all having a really nice Friday night. I just told YouTube about this, but hey, Instagram, we're gonna catch you up real quick. Um, I'm checking up on some dry aging projects and some charcuterie projects that I have working. Um, Hey, we're just checking up on some dry aging and some charcuterie projects and some curing stuff that we have working. I have had a long day, a good day because today was part of the Women in Ranching confluence earlier. And so that was really fun, but it was all in mountain or, and yeah, it was all in mountain time, so it started hella early. Um, but I do need to still do this like checkup uh, on my cures and my dry aging pork. So here we go. The first thing that I wanted to check is on my pig head and the H bone and the trotters that I have in here. And like first thing is that it smells okay. Like this is the first time that it's actually like started to smell like anything but nothing. Um, if y'all haven't been around for a minute or if you haven't been following, I did sprinkle these guys with like a ton of salt to do kind of like a dry brine on them. And it's given up a good amount of water, a good amount of liquid anyway. Um, but it's about time. So tomorrow's we're going to do in the morning before tomorrow's confluence stuff starts. I'm going to trim down the pig head a little bit. My partner offered to help me split it in half, and maybe if he's down to do it first thing in the morning or like later tonight, whatever, maybe I'll let him do it. But if not, I'm just gonna like trim off the top and like take the ear off and lay it down into a 4-inch hotel pan. Seal it as tight as I can with plastic wrap and foil, and then also like add water and like aromatics, and then after that, I'm gonna pop it into a low oven to let it braise for a little while. And by a little while, I mean like 4 to 6 hours because that's how long it takes really to make head cheese and like uh, extract all the gelatin from the skin and the ear and the bones and stuff. Um, but yeah, so that'll be my day tomorrow, and that's the kind of thing that you only want to start like first thing in the morning, especially if you're not like a super duper night owl. If you're a night owl, whatever, start it whenever. But this is something that like you want to be able to start the super duper long cook and then let it simmer for like a long time and then be able to like pick the meat when it's done and then set it when it's done. So that's definitely like an all day thing. Um, I also have the H one in here with the tail still attached. Um, and this guy's gonna turn into stock, but I still have some stock left over from like the neck bones. So we gotta work pretty hard on getting some stock used up. If you have any ideas for me aside from pot pie, which is definitely gonna happen because I have a chicken hanging out in the fridge as well. But yeah, let me know if you have any ideas for how to use up a lot of pork stock. But yeah, so anyway, everything in here looks really good. We're gonna move on to the next dry aging stuff. my gosh, it's such a sad song. No. Okay. So here we have the pork saddle and our first ham. Saddle. Let's start with the saddle, shall we? Saddle isn't a typical way to cut pork, as far as I know. But this pig, if y'all know, was particularly small. It was actually only about 90 pounds. And so that's pretty close to like a large sheep rather than like a pig. But I did want to dry age it, and I do want to get chops out of it. So, inspired by any sheep and lamb that I've seen done, I decided to cut the loin into a saddle like this. Actually, I'm going to glove up on my left hand. Hang on. Which I'm really stoked for because dry aging loin was the first bit of pork that I ever had to dry age. And I did that at a restaurant / butcher shop that I used to work at. And we would age it for about 3 weeks after getting it in-house. And yeah, this guy's turned out pretty good. You can see that the edge isn't completely flat there. So I just sprinkle some salt in there to sterilize it just a little bit. And then same goes for this end. You can see in the profile, it's not completely flat and smooth like I would prefer. And I also have it with the inside up right now because there was a lot of moisture pooling in this area as well. And moisture is really what it is that you want to mitigate when you're doing any sort of like preservation projects. So let's see, what's today? The 10th? The 12th. My calendar is all obscured. Okay, so I'm just going to grab a pen to note that we're checking it on the 12th, right? Okay, 21. And it's still looking good. Looking good. If I had like any more energy, I should be putting in more effort into the detail that I'm noting on here. Everything is smelling like really good. This smells like nothing, which is like a really good sign. Whenever you have a piece of meat hanging out in your fridge, even if you're not doing like a specific dry aging situation, what you want to do is depend on the smell check and not on a lot of other things, especially for dry aging, because like the surface is going to get really dry. It's going to like look like jerky almost eventually. But this has only been aging for 1 week. Hey, it's week 1. So I'm going to note that the exterior is looking good. We're checking it about twice a week at this point. Tuesdays and Fridays. And I would have done it, let's say, pellicle forming, but it's still moist. So we want to make sure that it forms like a really like aggressive and distinct pellicle, like a really dry surface before we flip it back over. And then another thing that I'm actually like really stoked on, I acquired some rock salt for the bottom of these trays. Okay. And normally we acquired some rock salt this week, or ice cream salt, as the box says. And normally I like really don't like Morton salt as a brand, like the table salt, the kosher salt. I think most of it's garbage. But because what we're using it for here is humidity control, and not like flavor or curing or anything like that, I'm down to use it because it just kind of like it'll do the trick is what we're talking about. Okay, so now I want to lift up. I have a rack on this pan, and now that okay, hang on, I have to go get a plate. Oh, do I have a plate back here? Hell yeah. Hi to everyone showing up. Happy Friday night. We're checking on some dry aging projects. Ham's looking good. Pork saddle's looking good. But I'm also, hey Bobby, this is from Heritage. They sourced it from a dairy. I can't remember off the top of my head what dairy it's called. It was like LDF or LDN or something like that. Here I'm adding some rock salt to the pans. Pull tab. What the fuck? Okay. I'm adding some rock salt to the pan so that it'll mitigate any excess moisture in the fridge. Oh my god! Look how tiny that freaking hole is. It's useless. Hang on. Crazy. Sorry if I seem a little grumpy tonight, guys. It's been a long ass day. Like a good day, but a long one, and I might actually be getting a little bit sick. But I'm pretty excited to add this salt. I've been nervous about it like this whole time. Like the whole time I was dry aging that sirloin in here, I was like really nervous that it was gonna get too humid in the fridge. I can't really see what I'm doing. Ugh. Okay. I was nervous like the whole time that the sirloin was in my fridge because I thought that the amount of salt that I had in there was going to be inadequate. And the thing about this pork is that it was only aged for about a week at the plants. And so it did not have a lot of time to like give off any much of its moisture. And so we're having to do a lot of that now. So I'd really love for this stuff to go for like 3 weeks. We'll see. I used to, when we did it at the shop I used to work at, we would do pork loins for an extra 3 weeks, and the pans would be lined with salt, just like this, like aggressively lined with salt. I sure am dry aging that pork saddle. And yeah, so we would line our pans with like aggressively with salt like this, and the pork would give off so much moisture that there would be just like this ambient layer of moisture in the bottom. Okay, I hope that works. That's the other thing too, is that you want to make sure that as the moisture comes off, the meat doesn't end up like sitting in the pool, because again, like moisture is the thing that you want to be mitigating when you're preserving anything. Yeah, thanks, Bobby. I'm excited. So that's, yeah, I'm super stoked because, yeah, like I said, when I was doing the sirloin, I was getting really nervous that like it was going to get too humid in my fridge. But that worked out okay with just using like table salt in the bottom of the pan. And then now we're kicking it up a notch and using this ice cream salt, aka rock salt. Okay, cool. So there's that. First set done. Oh, hell yeah. These are looking super good. All of these pieces, when I first started them, they were skin side up, but all of them were like, they had a lot of moisture pooling on the top, like on the surface of the meat here. Like this side was really moist to begin with, whereas this side is, you can hear that, right? That's nice and firm. That's 1 week of aging right there on this copa. Actually, this is the Boston butt. That's how small this pig was, is that this is like when you go to the grocery store and they have like a pork butt roast. It's like a cross section of this cut, and this is how tiny it is. I don't know, pen for scale, right? That's little, right? But it was a good pig and it was local, so we're into it. It's also been very convenient to hold on to in my house. So I'm just gonna take some notes. It's really important when you do stuff. Can you read that? It's really important when you do stuff like this to take to take copious notes, and then you want to just make sure, because otherwise, how are you going to know later on? And I'm not going to be able to keep track of this over 6 or 7 weeks. So we're going to pop 11, 12, 21. 170 pounds hanging? No, dude, this thing was 105 hanging. Yeah, 105 hanging, which is not really what I had asked for, but that's okay. I don't blame him. Let's see. Surface, drying, still some moisture. Keep cut side up. Yeah, again, copious notes. Make sure that you are keeping track of the stuff that you're doing. And so this side, it at some point it was saturated. It was very, very wet on this side when I had it hanging out in here. Bobby, will you DM me that, please? I don't have brain space to deal, but yes, I'm happy for the wreck. Thank you. And so now the top side is getting pretty dry, but this edge, I don't know if you can see it. This side is still staying pretty moist. And so I want to keep this facing up and getting as much air circulation on it as possible. And again, it's just hanging out in this. Can you see that in Instagram? There's an apartment sized fridge behind me to the left. And so that's where I'm keeping them. I don't have a fan in there, although I guess I could pop a fan in there. Stuff to consider. But anyway, I feel like it's doing well. Everybody has so far passed the smell test, which I'm really stoked on. Again, smell is definitely the way, the first thing that's going to tell you that something is messed up. I'm just going to really quick take some more notes on that ham. This is that last ham that we looked at was a bone-in ham roast, and this one is a boneless ham roast. Again, this pig was pretty small, so all I could do really was cut the hams in half. And I just kept the bone in on the side of the sirloin tip, which is the smaller side. And so I let the bone stay on the smaller side to even out the weights. So that is to say, this is the bigger half of the dry aging ham. He was a little pig, but that's okay. Okay, so I'm just going to take some notes on that guy. What's that? Today's the 12th, 21. Let's say surface drying, still flipped. Okay. And then the other thing that we're going to do is add more salt. Oh, yeah. This one's actually really illustrative because you can see how much of the moisture was dripping off of the pork there. And again, that's the stuff that will spoil way faster than anything else. The more liquid it has, the better it's going to spoil. Water is the medium that bacteria likes to be in. And so anytime you're curing or preserving stuff, you got to mitigate the moisture, which is why I decided to upgrade to getting ice cream salt or rock salt for the bottom of these pans to make sure that we don't have just random pools of moisture hanging out and rotting in the bottom of my fridge. Okay. I want to smooth it out so that, that just mitigates the moisture evenly. And then something I was mentioning earlier is that I want to make sure that moisture does get pulled out of these roasts, but not enough. Well, I don't know how much I can control how much water ends up getting pulled out, but I'm going to leave about that much salt in the bottom. I'm just piling it on top of the kosher salt that I had on it from earlier. And then something that would happen at my place of work where I used to have to dry age pork, what would happen is that there would be like a shallow pool of water at the bottom of each of these pans. Like we would dry age loin roasts, bone and loin roasts. And there would be so much moisture coming off of the pork that there would be a pool of water at the bottom of these pans. And then sometimes the pork would actually even like sit in the water a little bit, which I don't think is a good thing. So we're going to try to keep an eye on that and check on this on a regular basis and drain it out on a very regular basis if that ends up happening. But anyway, that's tray 2 of 3 dry aging cuts. So let's see the last guy. Okay. All right. And so now we have 2 ham roasts. This guy is a skin on. Well, they're all skin on. Skin on, bone in. You can see that's the bone right there, the little leg bone. It goes all the way through. And yeah, this is the sirloin tip side. So it's looking pretty good. Smells like nothing, and that is an excellent sign. For those who don't know, when people cure prosciutto, this bone is something that charcutiers have to pay a lot of attention to, because this bone can allow bacteria to come in, to go into it, and then like burrow into the marrow. And the marrow is like a really good spot for undesirable bacteria to grow. And so it's really, really important that if you are to ever cure a ham for a really, really long time, that you pay attention to whether like the integrity of this bone here, because the salt won't penetrate that if you're curing it for prosciutto. We're just dry aging it, and it's not going to be for that long. So like hopefully it'll be okay, but we'll see. It is passing the smell test though, so we're gonna mark that as good to go. Shit, what day is it? 11, 12, 21. Surface drying. No smell. Keep flipped. Originally, I had all of these roasts hanging out in their skin side up like this on the rack, but the surface of the pork that was closest to the rack, that was sitting on the rack, it like collected a lot of moisture there. And so eventually I'm going to want them all to like hang out like this guy is on the rack. But for now, they're all hanging out with the cut sides up because there's still quite a bit of moisture. And I want like a significant amount of what's called burn on the outside. Like I want the pellicle to get thick enough so that I know it's not going to just like grow a bunch of mold up there. So I know that it's not rotting is what I'm saying. Where am I? Okay, so this guy has his notes. This guy, smell test. I feel like at some point I'm going to do one of these live streams and the smell test, like something's not going to pass the smell test, and it's going to be so raunchy. Because yeah, if y'all have never like taken a huge whiff of something that's rotting, it's rough. But that is how you know that it's not okay to eat anymore. So you got to do it. 11, 12, 21. Yeah, surface drying. Surface drying. Oh my gosh. Keep flipped. Okay. And then finally, the last step that we've been doing tonight has been to add an aggressive amount of rock salt to the situation, because right now they're hanging out on top of a mix of kosher salt and table salt, which like work okay. Oh, interesting. Which work okay, but rock salt I think is going to be the best move of all. This one, yeah, and you can see like where the spots of moisture have been pooling in there. Sorry, I have the studio light on, so I hope I'm not blinding everybody by doing it. It's easier to see on YouTube if you want to pop over there at all. But like there are, oh my God, you can't see anything on their Sly Instagram. You don't get to see it. But there's just like little bits of spotting where you can tell there's moisture in the salt. And so that's why I am getting really aggressive with the type of salt that we're using to mitigate moisture in the fridge. Ugh. Let's open this up. Yeah. And I used to do this at a place where we would sell like 21-day aged, dry aged pork chops. And when we would do it, we would line the pans with rock salt just like this, dry age in a regular old fridge just like this, no fans or anything like that. But I do remember that those loins would put off so much moisture that the trays would end up like filled with moisture. And so I want to make sure to check this on a regular basis and make sure that they get drained on a regular basis. So yeah, it's a very aggressive amount of salt. Sorry again, Instagram, you're getting blinded. But you can see it on YouTube. Yeah. So there's that. It's actually kind of cute. It looks like a little snowscape. Okay. We're going to do this. That guy back on there. Keep him cut side up because I want that pellicle to form. And if I were like really a baller, I would put my little like computer fan in the fridge to like move the air around. But like, I don't know, guys. I don't know, y'all. I'm trying to keep it like as... oh, thank you, Beck. It's from Seymour Sausages. Here, let me put this back in the fridge and I'll tell you more about it. So yeah, that's 2 ham roasts, 1 bone in, 1 bone out. And that's it for our hams. Okay. So the story behind this sweatshirt is it's by a sausage company based in New York, called Seymour Sausage. This sweatshirt is called Sausage University. It's so cool. It's a woman-owned and funded company. So both the founder and the main investor are both women. The founder is a 4th-generation butcher who you probably know, or at least know of. Her name is Cara Nicoletti. You can totally find her and that company on Instagram. And they're super duper cool. I would reach out if I were you. Yeah, so yeah, thank you. And so here we have some bacon from that whole pig, which like I did pretty much an equilibrium cure on them, where I put about 3% of the weight of each slab of a cure mix on them. I didn't really rub it in too much. Okay, good. But you can see that there's some moisture pulling in the bottom, like it's making up its own brine, which is super duper nice. And then eventually what's going to happen is that they will give up enough water that it'll be time to either smoke or in my case, it's going to be a low roast. And I'm pretty stoked because sometimes when you do stuff in bags, the bags will leak. And so far, so good in terms of these bags. But I'm just going to do a smell check real quick. So you never fucking know. Oh my God, I'm so scared. We're good. We good. It smells fine. Yeah, it smells like nothing. We're okay. Thank God. These are actually probably pretty close. I don't know. So with these slabs, they're like really, really thin. And so I thought that they would have been done by now. They've been on cure for about a week or so. So I wonder if maybe they just need like a little bit more time. But yeah, they're still like really floppy, like super duper wet. But that's okay. I don't know. Today is day 7, so maybe we'll check it again on Tuesday. Yeah, this guy smells good too. We're okay. Oh my gosh, it's so nerve-wracking. Like doing the smell check, I know is really necessary, but like it's so nerve-wracking. Because rotten stuff smells so bad, and that's like such. Ugh, I hate having that stuff in my nose. But now what I'm doing is I'm flipping them over. Before they were skin side down, and now as I'm putting them away, I'm gonna make sure that they're skin side up. Wonderful. Everything's looking good. Yeah, this is based on a the Brian Polson recipe out of charcuterie, where they do just put the basic cure. I used brown sugar and salt, and then a little bit of pink salt in these. And again, skin side up, so that everybody's flipped over. And I'm so relieved because there's no brine in the pan itself, which means that these bags are holding. Thank God. And then the other thing that I'm doing is making sure that they are very tightly sealed, and that the edge of the bag, oh, you can't even see that the edge of the bag is flipped up. So that if they were to ever just like pop open or whatever, like any sort of disaster were to happen in there, at least that is above where the moisture is. So yeah, there's that. This is the last bit of curing stuff. I don't think I have any other fun projects to show y'all. Yeah, that's about it. But anyway, thanks for hanging out. While I do my charcuterie check-in, I'll be doing this again on Tuesday next week, and then if I get my shit together, I will actually like film stuff about this process, and then like edit and post and upload onto YouTube about like the entire process start to finish, because gang, it has been a whole ass thing. But anyway, thanks so much for joining. I really appreciate you all. Koji, you know what? I haven't, and I really ought to. And actually, you know who knows a ton about that is our friend Meredith Lee, which maybe you know a lot about it, Beck. I don't know. I have not yet tried it, but I should. We should send me some resources. I would be interested. And then yeah, maybe on like my next pig or whatever I get to do, we'll do some Koji aged stuff. But yeah, so anyway, I'm gonna go, y'all. Have a wonderful Friday evening and a wonderful weekend. If y'all are here from the confluence, I'll see y'all tomorrow. Okay, have a good night. Oh, nice. Yeah. Okay, bye. Bye, YouTube.